Take a deep breath, take the higher road. That's what they always say, as if they know the way. They won't take it from me. But don't ever doubt yourself, 'cause life ain't just a dream. You made your own, so kick and scream. The people will act with a never-ending force. You never had the chance, so what you waiting for? The day has come, my friend, 'cause this is war. It's time and this is war.
Today I want to explore a transformative concept that holds the key to reshaping our future: decentralization. In a world often dominated by centralized systems, be they in government, business, or technology, decentralization emerges as a beacon of empowerment, efficiency, and equity. Why is decentralization so crucial? It's simple. Centralized systems, while sometimes effective, can also lead to power imbalances, reduced accountability, and decreased community engagement. Decentralization dismantles these monoliths, distributing power more evenly and bringing decision-making closer to the people it affects most. Consider the possibilities when local communities harness the power to make decisions tailored to their unique cultural, economic, and social contexts. Decentralization in governance can lead to more agile, responsive, and understanding administrations that truly reflect the will of their constituents. In the economic realm, decentralization fosters innovation by reducing barriers to entry for small businesses and startups, challenging the dominance of large corporations and encouraging a flourishing of diverse and resilient local economies that are less susceptible to global shocks. The educational benefits are equally transformative. By decentralizing education, we can move away from one-size-fits-all models to systems that prioritize personalized learning, adapt quickly to technological advancements, and prepare students for the specific challenges and opportunities of their local environments. Moreover, the rise of digital technologies, especially blockchain, presents unprecedented opportunities to accelerate and secure the process of decentralization. These technologies offer ways to distribute data, protect privacy, and ensure transparency, paving the way for systems that are not only decentralized, but also trustless and secure. As we stand on the brink of this exciting paradigm shift, it is crucial to engage, discuss, and strategize on how to best implement decentralization across various sectors. Today, we will dive deep into these discussions, armed with the knowledge that decentralization isn't just about dispersing power. It's about bringing it back where it belongs, with the people. You're listening to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Before we get started today, I do want to encourage our listeners, if you have questions or comments, or perhaps you want to share your own experiences with what you're seeing on the front lines of healthcare, you can now submit those to any of us by emailing them directly to nurses@americaoutloud.com. We would love to hear from you. We encourage all of you to engage in the battle and find your voice in this fight. But until you are able to do that, we will continue to be that voice for you. Joining me today is Bradley Freedom, the visionary behind the Freedom People, where he serves as founder and president. He is the driving force responsible for turning ideas into actionable solutions, from branding to technological innovation. A veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, carpenter, musician, and software engineer, Bradley brings a unique combination of hands-on experience and technical expertise to the table. He holds high standards for design, technology, and especially people, believing that greatness is achieved through a growth mindset and magnanimous leadership. Bradley is passionate about leveraging blockchain technology to decentralize systems and create a more harmonious world. His education is drawn from life itself, self-taught in many areas and constantly evolving. Outside of work, Bradley is an eternal optimist, always having a good time and embracing fatherhood as one of his greatest roles. His balance of inspiration and humor makes him a magnetic leader, committed to doing epic things while encouraging those around him to reach their full potential. Bradley, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Kimberly. Thanks for having me.
Hi, absolutely. I'm very excited to have you. You come to us by way of our mutual friend, Kevin Tuttle. Kevin sends me fantastic guests, so I have very high hopes for this conversation.
Well, I hope not to disappoint. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love Kevin.
Yeah, he's fantastic. We call him public relations Kevin on the show. He calls me Nurse Kimberly, and I call him public relations Kevin. I just,
Yeah, nice. Right on.
yeah. So if you could, Bradley, just kind of start by sharing, what initially inspired you to establish the Freedom People? What exactly is the Freedom People? And what is the focus on decentralization?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Freedom People is a community of like-minded individuals that really flowered because of 2020. Actually, it was planted in 2020, and then, of course, the rest of 2020, 2021, and 2022, 2023, and so on. It just seemed to get crazier and crazier, and so more and more like-minded individuals, such as yourself and your listeners, are just people who are kind of fed up with the government overreach. And wanted solutions. And really, that's what we are. Is we're a solutions-based organization, and that's really why we started, why the Freedom People started itself.
Yeah, well, I
And
love it already. I love it already because we've got to be about solutions. We've identified the problem about a million times over, but so few people are focused on solutions.
well, and that's really it. And to kind of hop over to how this got started or why, I kind of woke up to the fact that we were being lied to by the media in in the late 90s. I was in the, as you said in the intro there, I was in the military, I was in the Marines, and I woke up to the fact that we were being lied to, and that my whole life and why I was in the military was a sham and everything. And it kind of exploded my worldview and everything around me and in it. And so took some years. Now looking back, of course, when I was going through it, I was a kid as it was, and so um, all new experiences being in the military, right? I came from a couple small towns in Arizona. And so, yeah, here I am, 18-year-old kid, kind of waking up to the fact that CNN was not being honest. And now that's kind of laughable. I know everybody's, and now it's pretty apparent that it's propaganda for the status quo of the government service corporations and the who knows, this seems like some sort of socialist agenda. Um, anyway, so in early 2000s, mid 2000s, I built the libertymovement.org, and we were trying to start our own currencies back then with silver and things like that. And this is, of course, before Bitcoin. And now that we have Bitcoin, there's obviously something far superior to trying to trade silver and figure out that whole thing. Um, yeah, around 2008, 2009, after the bank bailouts, I kind of got lost a little hope that anything would ever change. And so I really just focused on building applications, software. I was big into software for a long time, and startups and business and things like that. And then, in 2020, it all turned around. It all changed. My whole life changed, and that's just because I knew it was go time. And the message that I was trying to get across for so very long, that the Federal Reserve Bank was a privately owned entity, and just trying to kind of educate people on the information that I'd come to know, and wasn't very popular. But 2020, that changed all that, and it became I wasn't as crazy as people thought I was.
Yeah, 2020 opened a lot of eyes, I feel like. I mean, I was always kind of questioning and a little bit more awake and aware than most. But even I feel like I was asleep at the wheel, particularly with what was happening inside of our healthcare system. I
Mm.
don't think I mean, I always knew that they were placing profits over patients, but what I saw and what I witnessed in the hospital was more akin to, murder for profit, of COVID patients. And I just never imagined that if I hadn't lived through it, I never would have imagined that was where we were at.
That was, yeah, that actually my mother, she was 61 and she passed in the hospital.
Right.
They locked the doors to the hospital, wouldn't let us in. I mean, literally, it was locked, right? And so you could only go through the first front doors. This is in Arizona, and I come to find out it was kind of happening all over, right? But that's what it was. They are for-profit corporations, no matter what people want to say. And you know, I have plenty of family members in the medical field and always have, and you know, I don't believe people are doing this intentionally. It's just the way that the system's set up, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's the top-down protocols. And people, and
Mm-hmm.
when I say, that patients are getting murdered in hospitals, I don't mean that to say that, your doctors and your nurses in your hospital are going in there and doing anything nefarious. No, the nurses and the doctors in these hospitals, we were in there and we were doing the best that we could. And despite all of our best efforts, our patients were dying. And, we had to ask a lot of questions. But it's not that these medical professionals are doing anything nefarious. It's just that, well, many will say their hands are tied. I don't really buy that because, I mean, to me, you need to start questioning when you're seeing these types of things happening. You need to start in your mouth, because at some point, your silence is compliance, and it's resulting in people being harmed and oftentimes killed unnecessarily. So
Yeah, that was horrendous. I was my mother's power of attorney, and I was still not allowed in the hospital. They would not allow, so we hired a nurse to help us be like an advocate. And if they found out that she was on a call, like, because what they would do is they would give us like a conference call once a day with the doctor, and to compensate for keeping the hospital closed. Anyway, so and if they found out that she was on the call, they would hang up, and this happened multiple times.
that's insane.
It was pretty bad, right? I mean, like, what's the purpose of that? We were just trying to figure out, like, what is actually. So they put her on immediately, right? She's 61, was immediately put her on remdesivir. We filed injunction orders against the hospital, the corporation that stopped them from putting her on the vent. However, what they did is they just kept her in ICU for 40 days before she finally passed. It was just horrendous.
Yeah,
And
so sorry.
I appreciate that. And it's, I mean, hopefully, we can do something. And then that's really what I call my tackling fuel, that. And my daughter in March of the same year, like she was born in a hospital. We didn't want to go in the hospital, but we ended up having to because of complications.
Yeah.
Anyway, because of insurance. So insurance dictates healthcare in a lot of areas. And baby was born, baby fed for like an hour right after being delivered. Everybody was, whoa, cool, awesome, right on. Oh, but healthcare insurance says that not healthcare insurance, but the hospital insurance said that because the baby was born 1 week too early, that she had to go to NICU. Well, when they took her to NICU, they gave her the wrong fluids. They put her on deep 10 instead of like regular saline fluid, and they spiked her blood sugar, almost killed her, kept us there for 6 days, berating us the whole time because we were trying to have a home birth to start with. And then come to find out, as they're discharging us, they tell us that it was their fault the whole time. And it was just, again, and then later that year, the whole thing with my mother. So it's just given me a lot of, lot of energy to build solutions. And
that's why
quickly.
the preventable medical error is your third leading cause of death in this country. Preventable medical error.
Yep.
Unless we forget that.
Yep. And she was perfectly healthy and fine. Everything was fine. Everything was fine.
Exactly.
Yep. We could have walked out the next day.
Exactly. They cause more problems than they need to. There was no reason if she wasn't sick or she wasn't underweight, she didn't need to go to the NICU. That's absolutely insane. And that's why every patient needs an advocate. That's what we do with Remnant Healthcare is we provide advocacy services among other things. But we tell people all the time, you need to have an advocate, even if you are well educated and awake and aware. If you don't know how to navigate the complexities of this broken system, you need an advocate in place, and everybody deserves that.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, we love what you guys are doing. That's why I'm ultra happy to be here.
Thank you. But let's talk a little bit more about decentralization. So, in your view, how does decentralization fundamentally transform the way that societies function? So, particularly looking at sectors like finance and education.
Yeah, so I'm actually writing a paper on this right now called the Decentralization Revolution. And that's where I believe we're at right now. It's been the hyper centralization of everything, our financial systems, education. I mean, you name it, healthcare, everything's become so centralized that it's really starting to collapse on itself, right? The fiat dollar, as most people know, at this point, right, fiat it's a Ponzi scheme. It's designed to eventually just explode, and that's what we're seeing right now. These governments, right, at some point, it well, and if we really think about it, it's kind of crazy to think that just one guy, right, whether it's Trump or whoever, whatever, that they're going to somehow make these decisions, and we're all kind of under this umbrella. And then not only that, but it's like the two-party system, the left team, right team, or you know what I mean, like whatever, blue, red, the whole drama behind it. And now we're seeing it just eat itself. And so it's really just collapsing because you can't centralize anymore, right? We're independent people. We're as unique as our thumbprint, right? And so that's what I believe we're witnessing right now. Financially, again, the US dollar, is Bitcoin getting more expensive or worth more, or is your dollar, the spending power of your dollar, going down, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the question. Well, one of them, and it's a number of things, and that is because yes, Bitcoin is a superior store of wealth, and it's decentralized and trustless, and that's really what we're all about. Now, education on the other hand, and this is what we preach here at the Freedom People, right? We have the 5 pillar of freedom transformation that we help people kind of take back their power in all these areas: wealth, education, as we're talking about right now. And really what that's about is going back to educating yourself and educating your own kids. And even if you can't do it yourself, there's small community schools, there's tons of ways. And again, 2020 just sparked a tsunami of these decentralized schools, which again, we're huge fans of. I'm sure you're seeing something similar on your side too.
Oh, definitely. And when I started Nurse Freedom Network in 2020 and I started breaking away, I broke away from the system and I wanted to start creating opportunities for nurses to break away as well. I started thinking about teachers and I started thinking, well, gosh, we could really use like a teacher freedom network where teachers were coming out because we did all this when the vaccine mandates were coming down. And so many nurses didn't want to take the vaccine. I know many teachers didn't want to either. And I kept thinking, well, what if all of these teachers, just broke away from the system? What if, they just started a PMA? Like that's my organization is a private membership association. Because I
Beautiful.
really feel like we need to go about the business of start just building anew, right?
Yeah.
I wish that the teachers would do this as well, do a PMA and start, get a small one room schoolhouse and in these communities and start teaching these children. Um,
Oh yeah.
there are so
Yeah.
many, you could do it as a membership model or, how it would most certainly be cheaper than daycare. It would most certainly be cheaper than, the price you'll pay for the indoctrination of your children.
All right. And what's the price tag on that? I mean, like
Right.
seriously, to lose your kid, like
And you will.
so
Many
many
people
people
have.
have.
Yeah,
Mhm.
many people have. They've literally lost their children to this system, because I mean, think about how many households have both parents are working because they have to. Nobody can afford to stay home and raise the children anymore. And
Mm.
unfortunately, the state is taking over and they're raising them for us, and they're not doing a damn good job of it. In fact, they are kind of going against most people, I think most people's values.
Absolutely. It's gotten really, really bad, Kimberly. And that's what we're talking about, right? Is that's why we have to take that back. And that's really what we're saying here is that over time, and this didn't just happen in 2020. It didn't just happen in the past 50 years, right? I mean, it's taken 50, 60, 70, 100 years, right? I mean, the US dollar or the Federal Reserve Act was put in place in 1913, right? So if you take that, that's just over 100 years, right? So all this stuff just is fairly new, but it's taken all of this time for us to, I call it outsourcing our power. You know what I mean? That's the most, and that's where it's health, wealth, education, spirituality, and law. And we want to take back that power and teach people to stand on their own square. That's really what's at the heart of what we're doing. Excuse me. And to your point about PMAs, absolutely. That's one of the biggest missions that we're on is to help people educate people the difference between public and private. And we need to operate in the private and stop incorporating with these corrupt government service corporations. And it's they're stealing everything from us on many different levels.
Yeah, I really think that this has to happen across all facets of society. So, education, healthcare, certainly, legal, everything, because everything is so, as you said, so centralized. And we need to take our money and we need to start spending it, not on people who hate us, who don't want to breathe the same air as us. We need to stop giving these people our money.
Yeah, yeah, it's bonkers, but that's the whole thing, right? And that's why we have to become independently free, right? Stand on our own square. Learn how, and that's what you've done. That by creating a PMA, that's you. You're not under an LLC. But let's think about that. A limited liability corporation. Why would somebody want limited liability, right? Well, if I'm doing business with you, Kimberly, I I want to stand behind my work, right? And I want to, and most of us do, and that's how trade works. But they want us to get into this kind of game where where we hide behind attorneys and we don't talk to each other like grown-ups.
Yeah.
That's what they want us to be. And that's why it's called your minor estate. And that's because we are acting like minors all the time, right? And we just, nobody comes to claim their age of majority. Nobody comes to do these things because we've been, again, over generations just indoctrinated. We're born into the system. It is the matrix and we're born into it and we don't know anything or any better. But some of us have woke up to the fact, right? And we're all coming together. And that's why I see so much power in even just conversations like this, Kimberly. I see massive power and change happening all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think somewhere along the way, and the government came in and the powers that be, they came in and they have convinced us as a society that, life is too complex for us. Like we can't manage it on our own and we have to be dependent on the government or these different systems to do everything for us. And for the sake of convenience, we give up so many of our liberties, which to me is just incredibly sad.
You very well said. Yep, that's exactly it. And just over time, right? It's like, oh, well, my kid's stupid. Well, whose fault is that? Oh, it's the teacher's fault. It's the school's fault. Well, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sick. Well, whose fault is that? Well, it's the doctor's fault, right? It's not my fault. But the beauty in that is that as soon as we take our power back, as soon as we say, that's my responsibility, right? It's not anyone else's but mine. Even if you're at the worst or lowest point of your life, there is so much power in that. because now you can change it. Before you couldn't change it because it wasn't, you had no power. And that's what we mean by outsourcing our power, right? Even our connection to spirit or source, it's been hijacked by these churches that are actually 501c3s, not a 508c1a, the taxation classification, right? And the 501c3 really is how the devil got into Georgia, so to speak. That's when Lyndon B. Johnson passed this, right? But this is how they make the church and state meld together, where they, in that tax code, it reads that if you talk bad about the government, they can come back and charge you all your back taxes, right? So it put the churches, like, again, now they've been overrun for so long, right? I mean, and it's again, it seems like another propaganda arm in so many cases. I'm not saying all of them, right? And all churches and all that. I'm just saying as a whole, that's why in 2020, churches were shutting down. They were listening to the government and they weren't allowed to not to, right? It was this like crazy thing where it's like, wait, what are you saying? Like, they can go out here and riot and burn shit down, but we can't go to church. Like, something's not right here. What's going on?
And it's like, everybody was so afraid because, as you mentioned, they're going to lose their 501c3 status. It's that carrot that they have dangling over everybody.
Yeah.
The same thing with doctors. So many doctors during COVID knew better, but they have that, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars of loans that they need to pay back, right? They go to work for these hospital corporations, they get a guaranteed salary, and then they have, in essence, sold their soul to the devil, in my opinion. They've sold their soul because they have no control. They have no say. They give up all of their autonomy and they are too afraid to speak out. And that's why so many patients needlessly died, because too many people were afraid to speak up. And as you mentioned earlier, it really has to be about having accountability and standing on your work and what you do, like what we do at Remnant Healthcare. I stand behind everything that we do, but it's about building relationships with people. And as you mentioned, we don't do that anymore, right? It's like, talk to my lawyer, talk to this, and we're taking the personal relationships out of it, and we don't do that. We build relationships here, and we grow from there. That's how we move forward as a society.
I love that. Amen. No, hey, the Freedom People, we're private ministerial association. That's one of the things we do. We help people set those up. We trust, like we big on trusts, because there's a super powerful tool there. And yeah, you're preaching to the choir. We love it. And that's exactly as we have to, we have to become grown-ups. We can't remain minors, because that's what's happening is dealing with people can be difficult. And that's why people don't want to do it. And they don't want to have uncomfortable conversations, and people avoid being uncomfortable. Right. Yeah. And so what we do is we go to the nanny state and we say, hey, nanny, could you handle this for me? Even your marriage. Most people don't know this, or a lot of people don't anyway, that when you get married, if you get married through the state, you're actually not married to your spouse. You're married to the state. Each of you has a contract with the state. And that's why if you ever want to get divorced, you have to go to the state and say, divorce us. However, they never actually divorce you from the state. You know what I mean? It's crazy the way that it works. It's all contracts. And again, that's why this decentralization revolution has to take place. And with technology now we have, so Bitcoin blockchain, right? That is an immutable blockchain by nature, right? It means it can't be changed. Ethereum, EVM networks, those things, they can be changed. Now we have technology, we can run smart contracts on top of Bitcoin. So now we have like the technology here, and we can completely have decentralized governance, right? Not saying it's going to happen overnight, but this is something like a DAO, like a decentralized autonomous organization. We can set those up and really take out the biggest problem that we have right now with corruption, which is people, right? I mean, unfortunately, we can be corrupted and convinced. And having a decentralized, trustless system in place for governance, right? We don't want governments MENTS, right? Governmente, to control the mind. We don't want mind control agencies there. We want governance. We all want equal and fair governance. I think we could all agree on that. Unfortunately, again, there's people get put in place and systems are corrupted very easily.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because I think there is so much simplicity in what we are proposing, and the complexity is really in, as you mentioned, all of the government and the red tape and the bureaucratic, all of that stuff. It to me is more complex. There's so much simplicity in what we're doing and choosing to walk away from that system, but so many people refuse to do it in the name of being uncomfortable. And I've said it just many times, and until we become comfortable with being uncomfortable, we are always going to be somebody's slave. And game over. I'm done with that.
But yes. Yeah. That's what I say. I say finding comfort in the uncomfortable. That's what we do. You do. And but it's like, if you've ever exercised and stuff, right? And you go to the gym and at first, like, the soreness and it really hurts and it sucks. But then after a while, like, it feels good to have that burn, right? The burn, it feels good. Like, or that when runners hit that runner's high, that kind of thing, right? It sucks for a little while, but then it starts to feel good. And that's because you're growing, and you're growing, because growth is rarely comfortable. Right. I mean, it's just, that's just
growing pains.
Yeah. So yeah, agreed, Kimberly.
Well, we're up against a break, but when we come back, I really want to delve into some more of this about the blockchain technology. I have some really big questions about that.
Awesome. Look forward to it.
America Out Loud Talk Radio plays on the iHeartRadio network. You can also listen on our media player from any web browser anywhere in the world. We have the best in-class apps available on Apple, Android, or Alexa, 24/7. Great Talk Radio. All of our shows go to podcast the following day. You can hear them on apps such as Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeart Podcasts, and many more. Be sure to subscribe and rate the show on Apple Podcasts for me. Don't forget to check out our online store at americaoutloud.shop, where you can find all of the products that we represent on our network at a discounted rate, including an incredible line of products from Chemical Free Body. Unlike the majority of supplements you'll find on the market today, with Chemical Free Body, you won't have to worry about harmful ingredients, binders, fillers, or flow agents. Their ultra-safe breakthrough nanosilver technology destroys pathogens, balances the microbiome, and boosts immunity. All of these products are proudly made in the USA and are backed by an unheard of double your money back guarantee. I've made a twice daily Green 85 drink part of my routine, which has led to a decrease in belly bloat and an increase in my energy throughout the day. Use promo code OUTLOUD to save 20% off the Healthy Gut Bundle. I'll catch you on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
During COVID, we got educated on the power of natural virus protection and immune boosting using vitamins A, C, D, zinc, and quercetin. The problem? Getting them at the right dosage from truly natural sources that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Enter the Daily V-Stack. Using breakthrough cellular absorption technology, we put those vitamins together and supercharge them with a complete multi-mineral complex. The Daily V-Stack is basically an oral IV of 6 products, all in one at an affordable price. Go to chemicalfreebody.com/outloud today. Get the Daily V-Stack, protect yourself, boost your immune system, and save 20% on your first order.
I've got 2 questions for you. Have you been feeling off since COVID? Are you struggling with lingering symptoms? You're not alone. As Dr. Peter McCullough says, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Introducing the wellness company's Spike Detox Trio. This powerful supplement combines nanokinase, bromelain, and turmeric to support your immune system and fight off harmful spike proteins. Nanokinase improves circulation, while bromelain boosts antiviral defenses, and turmeric reduces inflammation. It's not just another supplement. It's a scientifically backed solution to help you bounce back from COVID. Imagine waking up filled with energy, feeling clear-headed and vibrant again. It's possible with Spike Detox Trio. Reclaim your health now by visiting twc.health/outloud. and use promo code OUTLOUD for 20% off your first order right now.
Don't accept joint aches and stiffness as part of aging. Doctors at Advanced Nutrition Company, Healthy Cell, created joint health and mobility to support connective tissue, joint lubrication, and reduce joint irritation with curcumin, omega-3, chondroitin, glucosamine, and hyaluronic acid for joint comfort and flexibility. And Healthy Cell's not a pill, it's a gel you swallow. Get 100% drug-free joint support. Go to healthycell.com and use code OUTLOUD for 25% off your first order. That's healthycell.com, code OUTLOUD.
You wouldn't go a day without brushing your teeth or washing your hands. What about washing your nose? I mean, your nose does filter the air you breathe, air loaded with bacteria, viruses, and irritants. Make nasal hygiene part of your routine with Clear. No messy bottles to fill, no drowning sensation. Clear is a natural drug-free saline with the added benefit of xylitol, which blocks bacterial and viral adhesion. Available in stores and online at clear.com. That is XLEAR.com.
Prepare for the next pandemic with the Wellness Company's Contagion Emergency Kit, designed by Dr. Peter McCullough. Get life-saving medications like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, plus a free nebulizer and a guidebook for safe use. Order now by going to twc.health/OUTLOUD and use code OUTLOUD for $65 off your first order plus free shipping.
Well, the year 2024 must be the year of the Patriot, and AmericaOutloud.news will equip you with all the information you need to give new meaning to the words Patriot Act. For our actions always ultimately define our words. Now is our time, my fellow Americans. America Out Loud Talk Radio. Liberty and justice for all.
Welcome back to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Wherever you're listening from today and whatever you're doing, I thank you for giving me the gift of your time. Be sure to make AmericaOutloud.news your daily stop for all the latest news and happenings. We all must do our part and share the stories, the articles, the podcasts, and videos so we can help secure America's future. If you're just joining us, I've been talking with founder and president of the Freedom People, Bradley Freedom. Let's jump right back in. Bradley, thank you again for being here. I'm just loving this conversation.
Oh, no, thank you. Me too. It's great.
Great. So before we went to break, you mentioned a little bit about blockchain technology. So for those people, I'm not saying me, but for those people who might not really have a great understanding of what blockchain technology is and all of this, can you kind of break it down in simple terms for the listeners or me?
Yeah, for sure. Or me. No, it's good. It's good. So what is a blockchain? A blockchain is all it is a ledger, and it's a public ledger. And this public ledger can be verified by anybody on the network. And these are peer-to-peer independent networks. The first blockchain that we had given to us, and it's the Bitcoin blockchain. It's truly decentralized and trustless. Other blockchains such as Ethereum, are what they call the EVM blockchains, right? That's the ledger, and that was created by the Ethereum group. Now, on the Bitcoin blockchain, on these Ethereum blockchains, there is something called NFTs. A lot of people have heard of them. They know what they are or don't know what they are. It's okay. Doesn't really matter. Basically, what they are is they're a digital representation of some sort of asset, and it's a digital asset, or it has to be turned into a digital asset. So again, you've probably heard somebody taking a picture of a sneaker, and then the NFT is the picture of the sneaker, but not the sneaker itself, right? So that has to be a digital representation. Now, those NFTs are non-fungible tokens. They call them non-fungible tokens. The problem is that they are fungible. As a matter of fact, they're mutable. They're not immutable. And they're mutable in the sense that they can be changed or even deleted. Whereas on the Bitcoin blockchain, it's immutable and can never be changed. So that's really the biggest difference, and what a ledger is, and the difference between Bitcoin and all of the other ledgers out there.
So you're a big proponent of this blockchain technology and feel like this is the way to go forward with the decentralization.
Well, it's the best thing that I can think of. The best thing that I think we've got in front of us. If there's a better solution presented, then yeah, I'm all in. And as of right now, the powerful thing here is what you were saying before, is it's decentralized, and then not just decentralized, but trustless, right? And that's the biggest difference between Ethereum blockchains and the Bitcoin blockchain, is that with Ethereum, we have to have third-party auditing groups that come in and make sure that any of these things have not been messed with or tampered with, right? Any of these, when I say things, these NFTs, well, or contracts, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the problem with that is that kind of puts us back in the same position where we have to now trust this third-party auditing group, right? So with the Bitcoin blockchain, it takes that out, right? So we can now, what we do is it's called inscriptions. We inscribe on a Satoshi, we inscribe onto the Bitcoin blockchain data, information, same as you would with an NFT. And that data, though, is immutable and can never be changed. So now these NFTs, so to speak, on the Bitcoin blockchain can be used for applications such as title companies, lawyers, in any sort of industry. Think patents, copyrights, right? Chainrecorder.com is a project out there that's what this does. And we had a big hand in getting it started. So just disclaimer there, but yeah, for this reason, we need these decentralized governance and solutions. So yeah, I really do believe that this is the best bet we've got right now.
And I've heard that from many, many people. So I'm starting to believe that myself, and I've really got to delve kind of deeper into that and learn more about it. But different like cryptocurrencies, they're often criticized for their volatility and energy consumption. How would you respond to those types of concerns, and what steps are you taking to mitigate these types of issues?
Oh, for sure. Well, so number one, we can dispel the myth of the energy consumption. It is, yeah, absolutely. But they also, I believe, crypto is the biggest producer of green energy. So if we're concerned about the resources of the planet, then that kind of negates that. And then as far as the volatility, that's very true. It's there. How I mitigate that is I only play in the big coins myself. This is me. I don't play in the meme coins and the altcoins very much. Altcoins, if I do, it's more in the stable coins or projects like Solana. Mostly 90% of my crypto portfolio is Bitcoin. And just because I'm a Bitcoin maximist, just in a lot of reasons. And it's not just because of the store of wealth or the currency aspect of it. It's because of the technology. Like I said, the implications of what is being done right now and can be done, it makes these old centralized government solutions completely obsolete, like completely, right? And of course, we don't expect these centralized entities to collapse on themselves and adopt this technology. But what we do expect is for private industry to adopt this technology. But I'm sorry, I got off on a little tangent there, but yeah. So as far as like the altcoins being they just are, do your research. You can get in and out, have fun. It's a great ecosystem. It's really fun, especially if you like technology. Go learn about these projects and what some of them do.
Yeah. And as far as with the freedom people, are you educating, like, how would you educate and prepare your members to adopt these types of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies? Do you have like classes for your members or any type of educational opportunities for them?
Yeah. So we have a blog, and we're working on more and more crypto on our blog. We actually have, some intro to crypto posts that have tons and tons of resources. There are so many different resources on how to kind of get started. Like if you want to learn about self-custody or what's a crypto wallet, there's countless out there. Our main focus has been solutions, especially business solutions. So we have one of our products is People Pay. It's called People Pay, and that's peoplepayapp.com. But People Pay is it's a merchant service for any business. It's a bolt-on, so there's a WordPress plugin, a Shopify plugin, but it's completely free to members. So we don't charge any percentage point. We don't charge anything. The whole reason behind this is to help mass adoption of Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. And if you guys want to know more about the Lightning Network, we can go into that. But basically, it solves the biggest problems on Bitcoin, which is that it's slow and expensive. So the Lightning Network solves that. We can send micropayments, but People Pay is a solution for that. And that's really what we're about is more creating the solutions, especially around this kind of stuff. I like I said, I've been a technologist most of my adult life, and so it's a lot of fun to create these types of solutions as well.
Yeah, definitely. What about in terms of like security and privacy? Do you have any challenges that you've encountered implementing these types of blockchain solutions?
Well, security is always a huge concern, especially when it comes to money, right? And the beautiful part is that with our system, with People Pay, we're actually using what's called BTC Pay Server underneath, and it's a open source software that has thousands of engineers and developers around the world working on it all the time, or I maybe hundreds, maybe not thousands. It's really big though. It's a big project. So that's how we kind of get the support, is from the community. And yeah, there's so many smart people out there, way smarter than me, way smarter.
So at the Freedom People, my understanding is that, so you are actually setting up PMAs for people, because PMAs are not, they're not easy to set up for the layperson, right? There's a lot of paperwork. You got to, set up the articles of association and all of the things. And so you're doing all of that.
Correct. Yep. We can, and it's unincorporated association, right? So there's two aspects to any entity or organization. It's the formation and the taxation, right? So for example, a PMA, when we talk about a PMA, and it gets blurred a lot because, especially recently, I say the past 4 or 5 years, it gets blurred a lot. These, like, people say PMA, and really what they mean is like some sort of tax exempt entity. But a PMA, at the heart of it, really is the formation of the documents, like you said, right? It's the articles of association, it's the bylaws, membership agreement, all that kind of stuff, right? Those are the formation docs and the governing body documents of that entity or that organization. But then we have the taxation, and we were talking about this a little bit before, and that's, most people know about a 501c3, which is a tax exempt, and I put that in air quotes, but a tax exempt entity. And like we said before, it's kind of quasi.
Yeah.
So you have that tax exempt entity there, but then you have the 508c1a. A 508c1a is actually a default tax code, because before the IRS was implemented, we used to do business tax-free with each other. This was like a thing, right? It was like, that's how we did business. And again, it's only been 50, 60 years, right? From the IRS being around, but people have completely forgotten how to operate in the private, where we don't have to be incorporated with these government service corporations. We don't have to. You don't have to go be incorporated with the state of, right? But again, we just don't know that. So the 508c1a is great, and that's a default tax classification. We happily set those up. We also, like I was saying before, we set up these trusts. We set up foreign trusts for people that are a tax exempt entity, that a little bit better of a vehicle for the taxation side of things, but we still set up the formation documents and also the taxation. If you want to be a 508c1a, we help people do that as well. Most people, once they figure out what a trust is and how that helps them, they kind of opt for that. But yeah, we have tons of solutions. That's what we're all about.
So that's awesome that you have these services. So does somebody have to be a member in order to to obtain your services as far as formation of a PMA, or is that open to everyone? So you have to be a member of your organization in order
yeah, pretty much. I mean, we'll let you browse around and stuff, but if you want to engage with us or even to book a call, we ask that you become a member of our PMA, just so that we know at what capacity we're all operating at, right?
Exactly. And so how does somebody become a member?
Just thefreedompeople.org. And then there's a join button, and you just go to the join page and accept our terms and conditions. And that's it. It's that easy. You can join for as little as $0 a month.
Oh, really? Okay. So do you have a higher, you have like a tiered membership system?
Well, yeah, it's more of a contribution system. So it's membership. We have contributing members and we have non-contributing members. And the contributing members, it's really you pay what you want.
Oh, that's amazing. So if somebody wanted to come and get that PMA, they can join. They are agreeing to your terms of services. They don't have to necessarily pay any extra money in order to get that PMA established, other than obviously what that the cost of that formation is.
Correct. Yeah. So we do charge for the creation of the PMA, but yeah, there is no additional like membership fees or anything that you have to pay us or anything like that. No.
That's great. What's your turnaround time for getting the documents done and all of that?
Currently, I believe about 72 hours.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. We're technologists, right? And so we automate as much as we can everywhere that we can. We have our CRM. We're trying our best to keep up with demand.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I have to learn how to automate more. Technology is really passing me by, I'll tell you what, but I need to learn how to take advantage of these automations a little bit more than I do, because I definitely I'm working harder, not smarter sometimes.
Sure.
But I would definitely encourage, my listeners, and, I've encouraged you guys many, many times that this is the way to go. Is we need to get out of the public sector, get into the private sector. The PMA is our constitutionally guaranteed right to private contract, and, long settled case law has just determined that right is unlimited. So I would encourage all of you to look a little bit deeper into the PMA. Whether that be, practicing your profession, whether that be in education, in healthcare, in law, any of these things, you're able to legally practice these professions under a properly formed private membership association. And the key here is properly formed. And that's why you want to go to somebody like the Freedom People, who can make sure that, all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted, because that's very important. Would you agree?
Without a doubt. And just remember, you want to stay private. And that's a lot of PMA docs out there and stuff. They're citing statutory code for their private organizations. And we do things a little bit different. We go way back to Treaty of the Forest, and you know what I mean? Things like that. The Moroccan treaties, like treaty way before all of this crazy babble was put into place. Because this isn't like, and again, it's just over generations we've been duped. We've been giving all of our power away. And just here's the thing: why do people form an LLC? Because it's given to you on a platter. Here's how you do it. You want to be taxed and regulated? We'll do it for you here. And it's the system put in place.
I don't know what state you're in. I'm in Tennessee, and I know to establish, I tried to establish a LLC at one time, and it's a 40% tax rate. I was like, this is absolutely insanity. I was like, I will absolutely not be participating in
Whoa.
that. 40%.
I declined the contract. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no, I think I'm good. I think I'm going to go on over here to this private sector. And Bradley, do you want to tell my listeners what is the filing requirement to the IRS for a private membership association?
The filing requirement?
Yeah. Are you
Uh,
required to file taxes with the IRS?
no, that's what a 508c1a is.
Exactly.
That and that's where, yeah, yeah.
So no
Short
filing
answer is no.
requirement to the IRS. I mean, if that isn't the biggest selling point ever
Yeah,
for an organ for a 501c1a, well, I don't know what is.
absolutely.
For me, I want the government out of my life as much as possible. And the IRS, I feel like, should be abolished. And whenever I don't have to participate in such activities, that's a good day for me.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Well, I can't believe we're out of time already. The time always goes by so quickly, especially when we're having really, great productive conversations, which this definitely was. So shout out to Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, for another fantastic guest. Appreciate him. And I
Thanks,
appreciate
PR
you for
Kevin.
taking the time, right? Public relations Kevin, or you can call him, you know what, when you talk to Kevin next, just tell him that you want to call him PITA. PITA.
PETA?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my little pet name for Kevin.
Okay.
And
Excellent.
you can tell him Kimberly said, "Hey, PETA."
I will.
And all my listeners know that by now. I've had Kevin on so many times. I'm probably overdue for a visit with him again. But
Yeah,
thank you
that's
so
great.
much for coming on with me. We'll make sure that we include all of the links to your organization in our show notes. And we'll have you back again because this is such a great conversation. And I'm sure there are many other topics that we could delve into.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I'd be honored. Thank you so much, Kimberly. It's been a really, really good conversation. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You're so welcome. And that is all the time that we have for today, friends. But remember, we are here on the air 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern with a different nurse host daily. You can also catch the encore at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please be sure to tune in and listen to myself and these amazing and courageous nurses. As we walk you through all of these hot topics, we will empower you with information and education. We will advocate and we will stand in the gap for you because we are nurses and this is what we do. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton, and you can find me here every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until next time, be safe, be well, and God bless. Remember, we are in a war for truth. We are putting out a bounty on the real misinformation and exposing the purveyors of propaganda. No topic is off limits as we shine our lights and expose the darkness.
It's time.